Alrighty, it's been a little bit since I've made a video, and I just wanted to give you guys an update on where we're at. So you can see we had a nice down move, obvious. I like to do the obvious today. And really, as a Gann trader, we're always looking to do like what's the best decision at a Gann level, right? So this is a pretty clean chart with just the previous day Gann levels on it. And so you can see right at market open, got the nice barcode action, which is typical for the first little bit. But still, I caught this short here because price, liquidity sweep, right here, short here, just down to here, easy, and I was done. But anyway, so you don't have to play it like that. You can kind of skip this craziness. Then what you can see, price never got down below, basically let's call it 2,500, right? Whipped right back up, right back to 25.14. It broke. You could have gone long right here, paused almost on the tick at 172. You could have taken. You can see how. Now I always base. This is a 3-minute chart. I always base my. Let's just say you're waiting on a counter close, and I took off the mid levels to make this cleaner. So it's all about, risk and reward, right? So if you're entering on a candle, so that's why I love these vacuum plays and these vacuum plays. Anyway, so let's just kind of get more to basic price action, and obviously this is basic. So let's say this is why this close is nice, right? Because look at this, you have the highest, right, risk to reward. It's perfect, right? You're going to get in and you're shooting for a whole Gann level, right? Now, if you're more of a conservative trader, your entry is here. And so then you can see your risk is, in this level right here, right? And then your profit is here. So you get it. And then this is probably the worst one, even though you have a lot of confirmation. Like it just doesn't work to try to get in here catching this because look what happened. Price came all the way back down. So the way around it too is, okay, so I'm looking for the high. What's the best entry? Good. You get a nice bounce here, so it's all context. So these two are really good. Not a good trade. In the middle, horrible trade. It bounces off here, so you could take a trade, off this bounce. So you're looking at maybe a trade here, shooting for this. Again, this is not great, but there is a momentum play. A close above this Gann gives you a decent. That's decent, right? Gives you some room. You see a bounce, and then I wouldn't say this is amazing because it's just a one bounce. It's nice to have maybe a double bounce or some more confirmation, but when you're live, you can kind of, I hate to say feel, because you want it to be rules based. But if you had a rule where it closed below the Gann, you do have an opportunity for your risk to be here, which is a little high right? That's not great. But from here down to here, it's a pretty decent trade, right? Pretty decent. You're not going to enter here. You're not going to enter here. You're not going to enter. You could have a stop here to go long off this wick. Now this is where some trades will not work, and that's just the way trading is. If you take this trade here, it does get down to here, right? So hopefully you had a break-even trade. You didn't get down to full take profit, and it came back. So this is a break-even trade. Then you can see the vacuum where you can go long here, this candle. It's nice that when it happens above it, but nothing's ever perfect. This is a valid long, shooting for here, right? Obviously doesn't make it. That's pretty quick. That's probably a loss. I wouldn't say that. So this candle with the wick is not a great short. It's potential. It's kind of there, but there's a nice wick there. You have a continuation doji. So this candle is interesting. Breaks down, and then you have a nice risk reward trade, right? Your risk is probably the top of this candle. That's a great trade, right? So that's just a small view of how I trade in Q. And as you get down, again, it's okay. That's not great. It does come back up. So that's a potential short. As you can see, it does get, this is a case where if it comes back up, you're looking for a retracement. And at this close, look at it, it comes all the way back up. This is a losing trade. But what happens? Vacuum comes back up, and then you're re-entering. It's just the way it goes. Loss, but then this will be the last one I kind of show you. This is your entry candle, and this is a decent, right? Shooting from here to here, and then as if you don't get a close above it, you can kind of play with your stop, and you can get down to here, comes down to here, down like so. It all depends on what you want to do, right? You do have some wicks here so again, it's all relative what you want to do, right? As you can see though, as it comes down, you're definitely taking profit here. You could, let's say you went long here, not great middle, great. That's a pretty good risk reward. And then you can see down here, pretty amazing balance. You have here. That's not a good long, not a good risk, not a good. You're in the middle, vacuum. Not great. This one's a little. You're going right into the Gann, so that's kind of like iffy. This is even better because you're getting in here, shooting from here, and you almost got up to here. Anyway, so that's just kind of like the basics of how you can scalp with Gann levels using the proper risk management. At least that's how I do it, day in, day out. Now to the exciting stuff. I'm on the fourth stage of the movement with the Python based script, where it has already analyzed 2.5 million lines of data on NQ for the past 5 years. It's run over 50 million calculations, over 10,000 different trades. It's even gone over, what's kind of cool, it automatically sets aside data that's been untouched. So when it was finally done, it ran another validation test and it passed with flying colors. And at the end of the day, it gave me a really good idea of what a profitable trading, it's scientifically proven that this methodology is profitable. And I don't want to reveal the secret sauce. I mean, you can kind of see in the chart, but it's going to be hard coded. So that's just the one aspect. I mean, there's a lot going into what's going to happen with what I call the smart brain. So we have the structure, we have the where, right? Then we're going to have the why. And I'm not going to get into all that because it's complicated and technical. But anyway, we're going to have the why, selling and buying pressure. So that makes sense to you guys. Pretty basic there. And then there's other levels to that, more advanced nuances. So then it's going to always reference going back that 5 years. So every trade will be scored on its relevance to what's happening at the Gann level, what kind of price action is happening, what kind of buying and sell pressure is happening. It's not going to be a machine learning model just yet. It's not like, like a doctor scenario where every time you have a new patient come in, all of a sudden you have new data. It just doesn't work like that. It basically, because you have the 5 years data, right? If you changed every time a new patient came in, right, the doctor, you'd go crazy. Like the doctor, it just doesn't work, right? The doctor goes to med school for years, right? They learn foundational principles on health and, the care. So it's kind of like what we're doing here. We have a basic model. Now, the nuances is that it does get smart because it will read real time all the buying and selling at that particular moment. So it's very smart when it comes to that aspect. But the nice thing too is that we can have it set so every week it can kind of do a validation test to see if the market has shifted. So that aspect will be living. It just won't be like real time changing at that moment. There might be a stage where it gets to that level. This is definitely the first stage, and there's going to be 2 other stages where it gets pretty amazing stuff. I mean, this is already top tier. I mean, it's pretty cool stuff. So I'm covering that part. So basically, how it kind of looks and kind of like describing what's happening. We have our structure now. What I've done is I've merged the king logic. Okay, I've merged the quantum edge logic. So maybe this is submerging in like the quantum edge logic pieces, right? And you can see I have 8.1. All this logic is going to be built in. This is kind of some of the newer stuff. The ones that are published are this one. So like these scoring ones, it'll be kind of like this. It'll be scored when a print fires. It's going to look back over that 5 years, score it against that price action and the buying and selling pressure. So then we'll give it a like a 90%, 80%, 70% of it, and it's going to go 20 ticks, 40 ticks. It's going to happen. That time will be real time. Then I also merged it with this Compass X Nexus. So it's going to have a complete dashboard analyzing everything. So AI is going to feed it all this data at the same time. And so you'll have this dashboard up, and it might look a little bit different than this. But in essence, this is going to have all this fed into the Pine script and the data to make it top tier command center with signals to blow your freaking socks off. Right? I don't know if there's anything else to cover. Basically it's merging all my best code and then feeding it data. So it's exciting stuff. Again, we're on the final stages, so we're looking at about a week for all the AI to complete the API script. And then I'll be forward testing late next week, likely, and then looking to push out the following to our little group. So that's kind of the exciting part with this, is that all the founders obviously are going to be in at an incredible price. Many went in before this really gets kicked off. We'll be at a set price for a while. Eventually, I guess I'll do it like this. Founders will likely be at the $47 a month rate for the next 6 months or so, whatever. I mean, I gotta work some things out, but I want to make, because early adopters, right? There's value to that. I also have people on the Ninja program, and they paid $60 for that, because currently they get access to both the Ninja and this. So I'm not sure how to work out the Ninja part later on, but in either case, let's say this works out really well. The signals are doing what we want. As you know, paying for data, paying for the VM, the virtual machine, the servers, all that stuff is extra cost. Founders will always be locked in. Let's say like 6 months down the road, everything's great. They will be moved over to a locked-in price, and it'll never go above 99 per month for them, unless they cancel and come back. In about a month, let's even say by November, anyone new will be 147 per month for the first 100, and then after that, the next 100 will be at 199. 100 after that will be, then so forth. I mean, it will kind of just grow in tiers. Now we'll see. It's all based on how well these signals are, and I get that, right? That's the beautiful part. Like, this could literally go nowhere, or this could really be a foundational piece to help people. I was, kind of in there coding a little bit, and I was sharing how well I was doing this week on my funded account. And I kept saying, oh, man, I keep going over my 40% with my funded traders account, which hurts me, right? Because then I have to make up that difference to get a payout. So I'm on track for another payout, but I have to trade higher than, it's just dumb, right? I make it more difficult on myself. If I have a large 2K day, that's dumb, right? It puts me in a position where now the next day I have to make sure that averages out to 40%. So anyway, we might build in a prop firm sensitivity aspect to it. So let's say it hits 40% and it just locks it up so you don't go over the 40%. So it saves you a lot of problems if you're in that prop firm space. But anyway, that's just one caveat to what we're doing with it. There's going to be a lot of things. We're looking at probably having 2 to 3, maybe 4 Python-based indicators that you'll have access to. But really, the 2 foundational ones, and even this main one, is really going to be, and it's so different. This isn't like, an RSI, MACD. Again, not ripping on any of that. I know there's traders out there killing it with RSI, MACD, all that stuff. This is built on my proprietary way that I trade. All the logic, I've given it hundreds and hundreds of setups, hundreds and hundreds of things that don't work. Fed it everything I can think of for it to build out exactly what I like. And the cool thing is, they went back in 5 years and found there is a statistical edge that this is profitable. That's pretty exciting stuff to find. So even at the end of the day, if the Python thing fails, I know at the end of the day what I do works. And I guess that's really exciting and very, validating after putting so much time. And then it makes sense why I've been able to pass so many evals, and then now finally keeping funded accounts, which is a whole other challenge. And I have to say, it's not always pretty. Keeping funded accounts is not easy to do. Finally, I've been able to achieve that. I have been paid out in large amounts before, but I've had trouble keeping that account. And now I kind of understand why, right? Now that I understand where my edge is, I have a deeper understanding of what my strategy really does and where the weaknesses are. It just gives, again, I'm not not out of the woods yet, right? Every day is a new challenge. There's always things that can sneak up and snag you. So I'm never going to say, man, I'm there. I'm top of Mount Everest looking down on all of you. You guys should all worship me. Anyway, so exciting stuff, what I'm doing. And, I do have a new partner that I'm working with. It doesn't really need to be announced. He's more of a silent partner, but he's fed me some amazing data that really is going to make the signals even that much better. And I'm excited to have him, grateful for him and his contribution. He reached out in a private chat and was impressed with what I was doing, which is really why I started this in the whole first place is, you know what? I'm going to throw this out to the world. Let's see what magic collaborations can come of it. And you guys all know that I've had some pretty cool stuff with the Ninja guys. I love what they're doing. That Ninja automation is truly amazing. What Doug and Holst are doing is some of the coolest stuff I've ever seen. It just doesn't quite match my vision of smart brain, analytics and building a smart Python-based trading type of indicator. I'm just not smart enough to do all the presets with Ninja, and maybe they'll get there. I'm sure they are. I'm sure that has to be their goal. I mean, the better the presets, right, the more profitable things are, and as they monitor the market, they can shift the presets. I just like the idea of a supercomputer doing it for me, right, and also faster. So I guess, and that's really where I enjoy that, building that process out versus spending, for me, days and days back testing. Now I do back test a lot now. This past week, that's why I haven't made any videos, is because I've actually been going back manually back testing just to verify in real trades. It's nice that AI says, "Hey, yeah, your strategy is working," but I've gone back hundreds and hundreds of trades this week, and I'm going to keep doing that periodically. But I have to say that I don't enjoy that aspect of it. I actually enjoy working with AI and building the logical piece and then feeding it so then it can automatically build out the strategy that is profitable. I enjoy that aspect more. But we all have different things that we are passionate about, right? So anyway, I'm not saying you should never not do the Ninja automation, because if you have a profitable way you trade and you can throw it on Ninja and then just add in those pieces and then have it's like a trained soldier, because what Doug created, it will trade it the way you want it to, which is fast, and it's not hard to set up. You just gotta, whatever you feed it, it's going to execute without emotion, and that's very powerful. I see the screenshots, I see what people are doing with it, and it is truly amazing, because we all know that our reptile brains can get in the way and mess things up. Anyway, so I've been rambling on a little bit. I'm excited to make more videos on what we're bringing out in the next few weeks, and for the very few people that will even hear this, I appreciate all of you, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.